Oh, the light of truth, 10th part, chapter 6, System of Government, section B. As a farmer separates the husk from the corn without injuring the latter, so should a king exterminate dacoits and burglars and thus protect his people. Let the king punish properly the magistrate who accepts bribe either from the plaintiff or the defendant in a case and therefore gives unjust decision, confiscate all his possessions and banish him to a place from which he can never return. Were that man to go unpunished, it would encourage other officials to commit similar wicked crimes, whilst the infliction of punishment would serve to check them. The king, who can be both gentle and stern as occasion demands, is highly honored if he be gentle to the good and stern towards the wicked. Either a just and virtuous man should not enter an assembly or a court of justice, or when he does enter it, he should invariably speak the truth. He who looks on injustice perpetrated before his very eyes and still remains mute or says what is false or unjust is the greatest sinner. Where justice is destroyed by injustice and truth by untruth under the very nose of the judges who simply look on, all those who preside over that court are as if dead. Not one of them is alive. Justice being destroyed shall destroy the destroyer. Justice being protected shall protect the protector. Let no man, therefore, violate the laws of justice, lest justice being destroyed, destroy him. Among all classes, those persons alone are eligible as witnesses who are men of character, learned, straightforward, who know their duty properly, and are truthful and free from covetousness. Never should men of low character be considered as eligible to bear witness. A witness who speaks the truth in a court of law and does not deviate from righteousness should be praised, but he who does otherwise should be properly punished. A witness who says anything in a court of law or in an assembly of good men different from what he had seen or heard should have his tongue cut off. He will consequently live in misery and pain for the rest of his life and will have no happiness after death in consequences of having perjured himself. O man, if you want to obtain happiness by uttering a falsehood thinking that you are alone, you are mistaken, for the Supreme Spirit that resides in your soul sees whatever you do, good or bad. Fear Him, O man, and live constantly a truthful life. Manusmriti. A king who inflicts punishment on such as deserve it not, and does not inflict punishment on such as deserve it, brings infamy on himself in this life and shall sink to great depths of misery in the next life. Let the guilty, therefore, be invariably punished and the innocent never punished. Where an ordinary man is fined 1 penny, a king shall be fined 1,000. That is, punishment inflicted on a king should be 1,000 times heavier than that on an ordinary man. The king's minister 800 times, the official lower than him 700, and one still lower 600, and so on. Even the lowest officials such as a constable, should be punished not less than 8 times as heavily as an ordinary man would be. For if the government officials or servants be not punished more severely than ordinary people, they would tyrannize them. As a lion requires a severer punishment than a goat to be well broken, similarly do the rulers, that is, from the highest officials, the king to the meanest servant of the state, require heavier punishment than ordinary people. If a person possesses the power of discrimination and yet commits theft, let his punishment be eightfold, that is, 8 times the amount of the theft if he be a Shudra, 16-fold if a Vaishya, 32-fold if a Kshatriya, 64 or 100-fold or even 128-fold if he be a Brahman. That is, the more knowledge a man possesses and the greater his reputation and influence, the heavier his punishment should be. Question: how can it be right to inflict severe punishments? Answer: Whosoever calls it severe punishment is ignorant of the true principles of right government. The infliction of a heavy punishment on one man prevents others from committing similar crimes and tends to keep them steadfast in righteousness. Truly speaking, this so-called heavy punishment is no heavier than the weight of a mustard seed when distributed among all the members of a community, whilst so-called light punishment, by its failure to check crime, is really 1,000 times heavier than the first, as it is multiplied 1,000 times by the proportional increase of crime. Now, take for an illustration a community of 1,000 persons. If every one of them be punished, say, 1 pound each, the total punishment will be 1,000 pounds. Whilst if one man in this community of 1,000 persons be punished, say, 100 pounds, and should that punishment succeed in preventing the repetition of similar crimes, the total punishment will not be more than 100 pounds, which is 10 times less than 1,000 pounds. Thus, the seemingly light punishment in the long run turns out to be the heavier one. Let the king as well as his advisers bear in mind that the marriage in early life must not be allowed, nor the marriage of old persons with young ones. Let the king encourage the practice of brahmacharya. Let him put a stop to prostitution and the custom of plurality of wives as polygamy, etc., so that both body and soul may attain perfect strength and power. For if only mental powers and knowledge be developed, but not physical strength, one man of great physical strength may vanquish hundreds of scholars. On the other hand, if physical strength is alone be sought after and not mental, the high duties of government can never be rightly discharged. Continued.